Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of my Beagle standard build log. I'm Diede, and while my little printer is printing out some parts, we are going to talk about the upper vertex of the Beagle. The upper vertex is the top of the printer and it will house the end switches, the idler pulleys for the belts, and the extruder motor will be attached to it. So without any further delay, let's get started. To build the upper vertex, we need the upper vertex corner pieces, 3 pieces. The pre-soldered end stop switches, I've got them here already. Flange bearings, I've got them in this tray. The small short aluminum bars. Some M2 screws and some M4 screws. What you also need, it's not in the manual, but it's very handy to have at hand, are the uprights to check the measurement of the upper vertex in the end. So we start by grabbing one of the corner pieces and 2 of the flanged bearings. These bearings go into the corner piece like this, with the flanges to the outside, so the belt can run in between the flanges of the bearing. We use the M4 by 30 screws. Let's drill out the holes. Only this part, because this part here is where the thread should engage. So we drill out this hole here, this one, up to here, not any further. Just tighten them a little bit, screw it in like so far. It should not yet enter this space here, because this is where the steel upright will go later on, and this screw will actually engage with the steel bar. So up to here, like that, no further. And we repeat this 3 times for all 3 corner pieces. So now we're going to attach the end stops. It's like a little micro switch to the corner piece. Put the corner piece upside down with the tapered end to the bottom. Then insert the micro switch with the open end outside, pointing outwards, like this. Then we pull it back a little, and now we need a tiny screwdriver and some M2 screws. You insert them in the micro switch, put them like this. And then we take the screwdriver, insert it through here, and then we tighten the screws like this. What I forgot to mention earlier, but it's good to do it as soon as possible, is to check if the metal upright bars fit into these holes. On my particular parts, I had some issues with especially these corner pieces. that the metal bar didn't quite fit. It was such a tight fit that I could hammer them in, but never ever would be able to pull it out again. So I had to do some filing to get the bars to a snug but not too tight fit. So grab one of the bars and just check if it fits. Like this. See, it's like really snug, but I can still slide it around a little bit. That's good. If it's tighter, any tighter than this, it's not good. Don't file away too much so it becomes a loose fit, because that introduces wobble into your printer and that's not good. What's up next is inserting the aluminum tubes to make a triangle and make it an actual upper part of the printer. I actually cheated a little bit because I checked the fit of these parts ahead of time and already pulled out the holes the same way I did with the lower Vertex. So I chucked one of the bars into a drill and just ran it through the hole a couple of times. It's good to do that because the holes are a pretty tight fit, and if you don't do this, well, you will have a hard time getting the bars in. Also, the manual clearly states that you have to work them in all three together, because otherwise you introduce a lot of stress into the plastic printed parts, which is obviously not good. So I just put them in a little bit and make sure I got them all three, just a little bit in. And now I will work my way down all three sides together until they are all at the bottom, and I can fasten them with a holding screw, grub screw. That looks good. Now we take a couple of M4x10 screws and we tighten it up. There you go. All bars are now firmly attached to the corner pieces. This is not going anywhere. It's maybe good to mention, I forgot it earlier on, to notice that the bars did have holes in them, and the holes should align with the holes in the corner pieces. If not, you will, well, probably ruin the plastic part. Anyways, you don't get the screws in like this far. They really engage fully with like the aluminum tubes. So check that before you even think about fastening these screws. According to the manual, this is now as far as we go with the upper Vertex, so missed some part. We should put M4x16 screws here. As with the M4x30 screws, don't screw them in completely, just make sure that this hole stays clear, because we need to insert the upright first before we tighten these screws. But that's for a later step. So now, as the final step, we're going to check the fit. If the upper Vertex matches the lower Vertex. And we do that by picking up our lower Vertex, putting the upper Vertex on top of it, wrong way up actually, just to protect the endpoint switches. And then we take our uprights and we just slide them in and see how it fits. As you can see, a pretty snug fit. Everything fits quite well actually. Much better than it went with the lower vertex. Funny enough, the parts of the lower vertex didn't quite match up with each other. As you saw in the last video, I had some gaps here and some hard time getting the screws in. But it matched the upper vertex just fine. No problem at all, actually. Maybe like half a millimeter off or something like that, so that's perfect. So yeah, the upper vertex, lower vertex, they're all pretty much ready for like assembling the structure of the printer. But before we're going to do that, our next episode will be the vertical sliders and effector plate assembly, which is essentially the part that slides over here and the carriage for the hot end. So actually essentially the part that's doing the actual business. So that's it for now. Stay tuned. Bye.